Welcome to Cognitive Curves. In this episode, we're diving into the fascinating world of dreams, those mysterious, sometimes bizarre stories our minds create while we sleep. From hidden desires to universal symbols, dreams reveal more than you might think. Let's explore the psychological depths of what your dreams are really trying to tell you.
Hey there, dream explorers.
We all dream, right?
But have you ever woken up from a particularly strange one?
Maybe you're losing teeth or you show up to work in your birthday suit.
And thought,
What in the world was that all about?
well, get ready to unlock those subconscious messages because today we're diving deep into the fascinating world of dream interpretation with two of psychology's heavyweights.
Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung.
It's incredible to think that both Freud and Jung saw dreams as a direct line to our unconscious minds.
That hidden space within us that influences our thoughts, feelings, and actions.
Right.
And, we love to compare and contrast different perspectives here on the deep dive.
We're talking about two giants in the field who revolutionized how we think about the mind.
So understanding their unique approaches to dream interpretation should be
Illuminating, to say the least.
So let's start with the father of psychoanalysis himself, Sigmund Freud.
What was his big idea when it came to dreams?
Freud's theory was truly groundbreaking for its time.
He believed that dreams were a form of wish fulfillment.
A way for our unconscious desires and anxieties to surface in a disguised form.
Wish fulfillment.
That's a juicy one.
So we're talking about those secret desires we might not even admit to ourselves.
The ones we keep tucked away in the depths of our subconscious.
Precisely.
And that's where Freud's concepts of manifest content and latent content come into play.
The manifest content is the surface level of the dream.
The actual plot, characters, and images you experience.
But the real gold, according to Freud, lies in the latent content.
The hidden meaning beneath those dream images, often connected to our deepest desires, fears, or unresolved conflicts.
Okay.
So it's like dream interpretation needs its own secret decoder ring.
Exactly.
Let's take the classic dream of flying, for instance.
Freud might say this isn't about literally wanting to sprout wings.
Instead, it could represent a desire for freedom, a longing to escape daily responsibilities, or a yearning for something beyond our reach in waking life.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's like our subconscious is speaking in metaphors and symbols.
But what about the dream of losing teeth?
I've always heard that one signifies something bad is about to happen.
That's a common association.
And Freud had an interesting interpretation.
He connected losing teeth in dreams to anxieties about control power or even aging.
The loss of teeth, something strong and vital, could reflect a fear of losing something precious or facing a situation that makes us feel vulnerable. That's a pretty powerful interpretation.
So even seemingly mundane dream images can hold these deeper layers of meaning.
But I have to ask, didn't Freud get some criticism for his, shall we say, particular focus on certain symbols?
You're right to point that out.
While groundbreaking, some of Freud's theories, particularly his emphasis on sexual symbolism, have been viewed as too rigid or reductionistic by later psychologists.
Okay.
So maybe we should take those interpretations with a grain of salt.
But that's what makes this deep dive so interesting, exploring these different viewpoints and seeing what resonates with us.
So before we get too deep into Freud's interpretations, let's bring in another psychological giant who offered a different perspective on dreams. Carl Jung.
So we've dipped our toes into the sea of Freud.
But now let's dive into deeper waters with Carl Jung.
He was initially a student of Freud's,
But eventually their paths diverged.
leading to some fascinating differences in their theories.
What sets Jung apart when it comes to interpreting dreams?
Jung agreed with Freud on the power of the unconscious mind.
But he saw dreams as more than just repressed desires bubbling to the surface,
He believed they were a pathway to self-discovery.
a way for our unconscious to communicate profound truths about who we are and what we're meant to become.
So less about hidden desires and more about uncovering our true selves.
That's a pretty significant shift in perspective.
Absolutely.
And one of Jung's key contributions was the concept of the collective unconscious.
It's this idea that we're all connected to a deeper wellspring of shared experiences and archetypes, universal symbols and patterns of behavior that transcend time and culture.
Okay, I've heard of archetypes before.
But give me an example.
What kind of symbols are we talking about here?
Think about figures like the wise old man.
The hero or the shadow?
These archetypal figures pop up in myth stories.
And you guessed it, our dreams.
Jung believed that encountering these archetypes in our dreams wasn't just coincidence.
It's our unconscious tapping into the shared well of human experience, offering guidance and insight on our individual journeys.
So if I dream about a wise old woman offering me advice,
It might not be about my actual grandmother.
but about tapping into this broader archetype of wisdom and guidance.
That's precisely it.
It's like our dreams are speaking a universal language using these archetypal figures to convey messages about our own growth and development.
That's incredible.
It's like our dreams are guiding us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves.
This is making me want to keep a dream journal by my bed.
It's a fascinating journey.
And what's even more intriguing is how these Jungian concepts can change the way we interpret common dream themes.
Let's take the classic being chased dream, for example.
Freud might interpret that as a manifestation of guilt or a fear of something from our past.
And while that could be true,
Jung might see it differently.
okay, so how would Jung interpret the feeling of being chased in a dream?
Jung might say, we're encountering our shadow.
Those hidden or repressed aspects of ourselves that we try to keep buried?
He believed that these shadow aspects, while often perceived as negative, are an essential part of who we are.
And confronting them in our dreams can be a powerful step toward wholeness and self-acceptance.
This is blowing my mind.
It's like our dreams are urging us to confront our fears and embrace the full spectrum of our being.
So much for those dreams just being about that extra slice of pizza we snuck before bed.
Right.
Jung encourages us to look beyond the literal events of our dreams and delve into the symbolic language of the unconscious.
What is the dream trying to tell you about yourself, your fears, your aspirations?
It's a journey of self-discovery.
I love that.
So with Jung, we're not just interpreting dreams.
You're engaging in a dialogue with our unconscious, uncovering hidden truths about ourselves along the way.
It's a much more active and empowering way to approach dream analysis. And while both Freud and Jung offer valuable insights, their contrasting approaches can lead to some wildly different interpretations of the same dream symbol.
Okay, you've piqued my curiosity.
Now I'm dying to know, how would these two psychological titans interpret the same dream?
Let's put them head to head in a dream interpretation battle.
What do you say we pit Freud versus Jung and see what fascinating insights emerge?
I'm always up for a good dream duel.
Let's dive into the ring.
All right, round one, the classic dream of flying.
Freud, what's your take on this one?
Freud might say that flying represents desire for freedom.
A longing to break free from the constraints and responsibilities of everyday life?
Perhaps there's a yearning for escape or a desire to transcend the mundane.
It resonates.
Now, Jung, your turn.
What's your interpretation of soaring through the air?
Jung might see flying as a symbol of transcendence.
But in a different sense.
He may interpret it as a striving for higher consciousness, a spiritual yearning to connect with something greater than ourselves, or a desire for expanded awareness.
Ooh, I love that contrast.
One is about escaping the everyday, the other about reaching for something more profound within ourselves.
Okay, next up. Losing teeth.
This should be good.
Freud, hit us with your wisdom.
For Freud, losing teeth could point to anxieties about power control.
Or even a fear of losing something vital and potent.
It might tap into our primal fears of vulnerability or helplessness.
Intense.
Jung, what are your thoughts on this teeth-chattering dream?
Jung might interpret losing teeth as a symbol of transformation.
He might say it represents a significant life change or a shedding of old beliefs and patterns to make way for the new.
It's a natural part of growth and evolution.
Wow, that's a much more positive spin on what feels like a pretty unsettling dream.
I love how these two perspectives can completely shift our understanding.
What about another common dream, being chased?
Freud, why are we always running in our dreams?
Freud might see being chased as a manifestation of guilt.
Or a fear of confronting unresolved issues from our past.
It might reflect a suppressed trauma or a part of ourselves that we're trying to outrun.
That makes sense.
Jung, why all the running?
What's the deeper meaning behind these chase dreams?
For Jung, being chased could represent an encounter with our shadow self.
Those hidden or repressed aspects of our personality that we try to deny.
The chase could be a call to confront and integrate those shadow elements to become more whole and accepting of all parts of ourselves.
Okay, I'm hooked on this dream battle.
Let's keep it going with another common, and let's be honest, slightly embarrassing one, the dream of being naked in public.
Freud, what's going on in our subconscious when we have this dream?
Freud might interpret this dream as a fear of exposure.
A deep-seated anxiety about being judged or shamed for our perceived flaws or hidden secrets?
It often relates to vulnerability and the fear of being truly seen for who we are.
Vulnerability is definitely a theme that comes up a lot in dreams.
Jung, what's your take on this one?
What's the message behind our birthday suit dreams?
Jung might see the naked in public dream as a symbol of authenticity and the need to embrace our true self's flaws and all.
It could be a call to let go of pretense and show up in the world with greater genuineness.
Interesting.
So it's not necessarily about the nakedness itself, but about what it represents.
Our true selves, unfiltered and exposed.
I like that interpretation.
Okay, how about one more head-to-head interpretation before we move on?
Let's go with finding a key.
A symbol full of potential.
Freud, what do you think?
Freud might view finding a key as uncovering something hidden or gaining access to something previously forbidden.
He might focus on the potential for unlocking desire or fulfilling a repressed urge.
Classic Freud.
Always with the hidden desires.
Now for a different perspective.
Young, what might our dreams be telling us when we stumble upon a key?
Jung might interpret finding a key as discovering a solution, gaining new knowledge, or experiencing a breakthrough in self-awareness.
It could represent unlocking our potential or finding the key to a personal dilemma.
This dream duel is really making me see these familiar dream symbols in a whole new light.
But we're on a roll, so let's keep this head-to-head interpretation going.
Next up, you're dreaming, and you meet a wise old person.
They're radiating wisdom, maybe giving you cryptic advice or a knowing glance.
Freud, what's the subconscious trying to tell us here?
Freud might connect this dream figure to unresolved issues with authority figures.
Particularly from our early childhoods.
It could represent a longing for guidance or a need to work through the influence of powerful figures from our past.
Fascinating.
So it's not just about the wise old person themselves.
But what they represent in our personal psyche.
Jung, what's your perspective on encountering wisdom figures in our dreams?
Jung would likely see this as a classic appearance of the wise old man or wise woman archetype.
Symbolizing a connection to our own inner wisdom, spiritual guidance, or the collective unconscious itself.
It could be a sign to trust our intuition and seek deeper meaning in our lives.
I love that our dreams is a source of inner guidance.
So cool.
All right, let's try another really common dream theme on Versailles crossing the bridge.
Freud, what does it mean when our dream selves are on this metaphorical journey?
Freud might interpret crossing a bridge as a transition or passage from one stage of life to another.
It could relate to significant changes, challenges or decisions we're facing in our waking lives, often tied to relationships or career paths.
Bridges as symbols of change.
I can see that.
Jung, any thoughts on the bridge symbolism?
What deeper meaning might it hold?
Jung might view crossing a bridge as a representation of personal transformation.
A movement from one state of consciousness to another.
It could signify overcoming obstacles, integrating different aspects of ourselves, or embarking on a new phase of personal growth.
So whether we're talking about Freud or Jung, bridges seem to carry a lot of symbolic weight in our dreams.
Okay, how about this scenario? You're climbing a mountain, pushing yourself to the limit, maybe even struggling a bit.
Freud, what's the unconscious mind trying to tell us with this dream?
Freud might interpret climbing a mountain as a striving for success or achievement.
Often linked to ambition, power, or even sexual conquest in his view.
The struggle in the dream could represent the obstacles we perceive on our path to fulfilling those desires.
Ambition, obstacles, and a little bit of Freudian flair.
Jung, what's your perspective on this physically and metaphorically challenging dream?
Jung might see climbing a mountain as a metaphor for the hero's journey.
The archetypal quest for self-discovery and individuation.
The challenges and obstacles represent the inner work and sacrifices required for genuine personal growth and fulfillment.
It's amazing how the same dream image can have such different interpretations depending on the lens we're using.
Okay, last dream interpretation battle, and this one's a classic for a reason. You're lost in a maze.
Twists, turns, dead ends everywhere you look.
Freud, help us navigate this confusing dreamscape.
What does it all mean?
Freud might interpret being lost in a maze as feeling trapped, anxious, or confused in our waking lives.
It could represent a fear of making the wrong choices, a sense of being lost to the complexities of life, or even a manifestation of repressed desires that we feel are blocking our path.
A maze is a symbol of feeling lost or stuck.
That's definitely one I can relate to.
Hume, any final words of wisdom for navigating the labyrinthine world of dreams?
Jung might see being lost in a maze as a symbolic representation of the individuation process itself.
Life rarely unfolds in a straight line, and discovering our true selves often involves navigating uncertainty, confusion, and self-doubt.
It can be a process of trial and error, of exploring different paths, until we find the one that feels most aligned with our authentic selves.
That's a beautiful way to look at it, embracing the uncertainty and trusting the journey.
This whole conversation has been such an incredible deep dive into the world of dreams.
It's amazing how two brilliant minds can offer such different yet equally insightful interpretations of the same dream symbols.
What's truly fascinating is that neither Freud nor Jung's perspective is inherently right or wrong.
The richness comes from exploring these different lenses and seeing what resonates with our own personal experiences.
Because at the end of the day, dream interpretation is a deeply personal and subjective journey.
I couldn't agree more.
It's like we each have our own internal dictionary of dream symbols, shaped by our unique experiences, beliefs, and perspectives.
So to our listener out there, the next time you wake up from a vivid dream,
Don't just brush it off as nonsense.
grab your dream journal and ask yourself,
What might this dream be trying to tell me?
do any of Freud's interpretations about repressed desires or anxieties resonate with what's happening in my life?
Or do Jung's ideas about archetypes, the collective unconscious and the journey of self-discovery, feel more aligned with my intuition?
The answers are waiting to be uncovered within you.
Be curious. Explore the depths of your own mind and see what hidden truths emerge.
Beautifully said.
And on that note, we'll leave you with this final thought to ponder.
If dreams are a reflection of our unconscious minds, what messages are your dreams trying to send you?
Sweet dreams, explorers.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of dreams. If you enjoyed unraveling the mysteries of your subconscious, don't forget to subscribe to Cognitive Curves for more mind-opening insights into psychology. Got a dream you want to decode or a topic you'd love us to explore? Leave a comment below. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep exploring, and stay curious.